Hey, what's up, Newtonville? You got Johnny Brento on the road for another edition of Johnny Brento's JuJu. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. MVP Hump Day. Had a flurry of activity this weekend on Beauticia's movie morgue. Shribo came over and began assembling the actual final edit, which worked pretty well because I had already sort of pulled the takes. We were a little more selective about the takes that we captured this time, so as to streamline the work when we got to the editing stage. So I think probably one more full day of editing and that episode will be ready for prime time. Probably could have had it done today, but there were some technical issues with capturing. Technical as in Jamie did not have the FireWire plugged into the computer. But in any case, it's all good. We got some good progress. Jamie got some good progress going on that. He pulled the additional footage for the Absolute Zero music video, which is featured within the episode, and I did a little work on that after he left last night. We're trying to kind of reproduce the 70s look of the video Paranoid by Black Sabbath. So made some good motion on that. I actually posted a few graphics on the site, and also you'll see accompanying this a few shots of that, at least one shot of that, and then maybe if you follow the Facebook fan page for Newtonville, you may have seen it already, or the fan page for Absolute Zero, the band. Had some changes for me personally this past week. Seems like Black Saturn may have melted down, which is fine. I mean, it kind of ran its natural course. I had some fun with those guys, but when you get involved with people, some of whom are your friends, others of whom you don't really know, and maybe some of those said folks kind of turn out to be people of low moral character, unpredictable things can happen, and I think that's what happened to us. And also, I would just say, my advice to anybody trying to be in a band: be equally yoked. If you're not a smoker and a drinker, don't go get a bunch of guys that are smokers and drinkers, because that'll ultimately lead to discomfort and frustration. Or if you're not really into country music, don't go play in a country band. You know what I mean? If your drive is doing original music, like it is for me, it was kind of a mistake really to get into a band dedicated to doing only covers. Although it was fun for a while. The thing is, with original music, you really have to scratch to find places to play. You almost never get paid anything. I played over the summer with, I say over the summer. We started at the end of January, and so the band fizzled last week, and I probably made $1,000 or close to $1,000 playing. That's not bad. I mean, of course, I spent $1,100 on gear, but I have new gear now, so the downside of that is always that, and I'm not counting gas expense to drive out to Midland once a week to practice. So I was just honking at my singer Neil Smith right there. Mowing. He works in a crew that mows, does yardscaping and stuff, and he was mowing at the church. He didn't hear me though. But yeah, it's like it's the kind of thing you have to put some forethought into before you do it. But like I said, with original music, usually we would scratch to get gigs, and then when we go to the gigs and play them, we're lucky if 5 or 6 people are there, and that's just the sad truth of it. I don't think that's a reflection on the quality of our music by any means. It's just that people, places that have original music aren't usually that happening in spots, more like coffee shops, and it's just really rare to have a show with a lot of people. Contrast that with learning a bunch of really simple songs from the 70s all the way through the 90s, a few of which weren't simple, but I'm just saying in general, you're going by, like, you're not having to struggle to write good music, you're just copying music and playing it and whatnot. And I took it very, very seriously. I really worked hard on it, and I'm very proud of the quality of playing that I had in that band. I worked very hard to try to play something very close to what's on the record, or either make it my own in some way, and I feel like I accomplished that. Unfortunately, with this band, we had one really standout player who learned a lot of the songs by ear, and I think as a result of that, some of the songs we ended up not playing the way they're played on the recording, the record. And I know that personally threw me some curves here and there, where I'd go practice a song, spend my 3 hours a week practicing personally, and get there to find out that he wanted to play it a whole different way. And of course, being the accommodating sort of fellow that I am, I would always roll with that. But I don't think that's the right way. I think especially if you're in a cover band, I think the way to do it is for everybody to learn it the way it is on the record, no exceptions, unless the singer absolutely cannot sing it in that key, in which case it's just a simple matter of transposing it, not rewriting it, adding an extra chord or an extra G into it or whatever, like we did on several songs, which I felt like was a mistake. But at the end of the day, the crowd's usually drunk and they don't notice the difference anyway. And on that note, we played some really cool places and had some appreciative audiences, but playing for a bunch of drunk older women it's just not my idea of fulfillment musically. So I'm just as happy that this all kind of came to a natural conclusion the way it did. I had a really good time, and Rob and Neil, I was really glad to get to play with those guys because I've known them for a long time and we have a lot of common musical interests. And I always said that Robbie Belt was one of the people that he was a real good player before I was, and he was one of the folks that inspired me to want to get better. So that's cool that I got to do a little stint in a band with him. And of course, Neil Smith, he actually saw the early version of Absolute Zero, aka Borgo Pass, and we were Absolute Zero some of the time, playing with his cousin Herbert, who was one of our two main drummers, along with Jerry Waldrop, aka Bush Baby. So that's kind of cool. It sort of came full circle. I remember Neil coming around when he was just a 16-year-old kid, and we were renting out a large rehearsal space in downtown Albemarle, and it was really fun. We lived up there putting that band together. We had one big party before we let that place go, and then just played lots of shows, lots of open mics with Herbert, and Herbert ultimately ended up moving away, and Bush came back into the fold for a while, but that's all Absolute Zero history. I hope there's another chapter for Absolute Zero. I think there could be. I don't want to say too much about it, but we got a family member of one of the players coming up, and he's already shown, the ability to be a good player. And I don't know. I think potentially that could be another version of Absolute Zero. I think there's still a potential that we could hook back up with Jeremy Mullis and do some more shows. It's such a focus to do music, and lots of times our focus, me and Todd, are on either makeup effects or making a movie or helping somebody else make a movie, and it's not really, I think probably it's easier for me to switch back and forth because naturally as an artist, I mean, you can look at it like a weakness or a strength. I mean, certainly I would be better at guitar if I didn't do anything else. If all I ever did was guitar, take my buddy Tim Galloway. He's amazing. I mean, he's a professional guitar player, and everything the dude does is just quality. And the reason for that is that he has I guess a lifelong love affair with the guitar. You don't see that guy out doing jiu-jitsu or acting or anything else. I mean, that is his life. And that's why he got to where he is. And, as an artist, I don't know. I know that I go through phases where I'm deeply devoted to one discipline. It might be After Effects, and I'll just spend, hours and hours a week working on a technique or trying to learn how to do some sort of special grading technique or visual effect. And then, I'll get more interested in writing, and I'll go back and try to study writing and really improve my writing, or I might be on jiu-jitsu that year for 6 months or whatever. I'll be really serious about trying to get back to where I can compete with jiu-jitsu or whatever. And I think the answer to happiness is having a little bit of everything for me. So that's what I aim for. I just try to keep my fingers in a lot of pies, as it were, and have fun. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of people that criticize me for that. They can go step off. I'm not going to say anything specific, but I've been criticized for that by people outside of my circle, and I really don't care what you think. I mean, I'll do what I think I need to do to be fulfilled as an artist. And wow, did that ever go off on a rant? But anyway, it's good to have plenty of things going on, and just makes me happy. got my little VHS collecting show, and, you know, I've got my little projects to do. I'm helping on Robert's project, getting into stop motion, and, you know, helping Todd here or there with that makeup effect thing, and just a lot of cool stuff going on. And, you know, I want to look back when I'm done with all this and go, hey man, look at all this stuff that I was into. That's awesome. That's probably why I'm such a documentarian. I want to video everything. Well, this is running a little bit long in the tooth now. I try to limit these to 10 minutes, and I've already reached the 10-minute mark. Suffice to say that things are going well. MVP is rolling along. Going to get that Mutitious movie more hopefully done in time for some sort of a Halloween screening. I would like to do a Halloween screening at my theater, but Jamie had mentioned something about potentially having it shown at another big function, which I don't want to mention until he is able to talk with the promoters or whatever. But personally, I would really like to do a screening of it for casting crew and close friends, you know, at my theater. Really been wanting to do a Halloween party at the house. Haven't ever really done that proper. Sort of did one last year, but I really want to do it up like costume ball style. Sort of like Jody Essex's Halloween party that I missed because I was sick. But I've heard many, many great things about it and saw a bunch of cool pictures. So something on that level, if possible. You never know. To see how things are going. But, okay, so that's it for this week's Johnny Brento's JuJu. Check back next week. As long as I'm not banned from Mutinville, I will be showing you what's happening in the world of Johnny Brento. Peace.